A big fault on my channel is not making my points clear and my opinions clear, and so I get a lot of confused people in the comment section, so I need to make this clear off the start even if I've said it before on my channel. Call of Duty World War II is not a bad game. What it is, however, is a boring game. It's kind of impressive that Call of Duty World War II only really has one thing I haven't seen in other first-person shooters, and that is a dedicated 1v1 pit in the headquarters. Everything else in Call of Duty has been seen and done before. Maybe not at the level of polish that Call of Duty World War II has, because Call of Duty World War II is a solid AAA World War II game, and you can't say that about too many other games, but other than that, Call of Duty World War II doesn't really take any risks. Now some of you might be thinking, well, it has a new class system with the basic trainings, but really what the basic trainings and the division is kind of a mix of the perk and the rig system from other Call of Duties and Infinite Warfare. That's basically what you have. You pick something that gives you a set of perks and it changes your appearance, and then you pick a basic training, which is usually 1 to 2 to maybe 3 little boosts to your character, so it's just a perk. There are no new attachments in this game I haven't seen in other Call of Duty games or other first-person shooters, and this led me to the conclusion that although World War II is not a bad Call of Duty game, it's a boring game. And what Call of Duty World War II does wrong, Advanced Warfare years before did right. Now I know they worked on Modern Warfare 3 extensively, but Advanced Warfare was Sledgehammer's first knee-deep wade into the Call of Duty franchise. Love it or hate it, and I lean more towards hating it, it is a game that showed Call of Duty players things they had never seen before in Call of Duty, and it showed me things I hadn't seen before in AAA shooters around that time at all. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare introduced exosuits, of course, exo abilities, the exo launcher, which could be loaded with multiple different types of grenades, some of which that could be air bursted. You had spikes that stuck into walls and would chase people when they walked by and then explode. You had a 20mm cannon. You have directed energy weapons. The ability to double jump, dash, thrust downwards. The ability to have a pick 13 system and customize your score streaks. Yeah, it was a lot of things we hadn't seen before. And although they weren't all balanced and competitively viable, or sometimes they were just blatantly overpowered, the game had a massive variety of weapons between the variants and the interesting base weapons to begin with. The game centered around fast-paced vertical combat. It really embraced what Call of Duty is all about. Maybe a little too much in the wrong areas, but arguably Advanced Warfare is a decent piece of software that I wouldn't tell people to desperately avoid, even though I personally tried to desperately avoid it, and playing it tonight was kind of a bit of a struggle. This was a game I felt obligated to play because I started the game out and then I started my YouTube channel and I felt like I had to play it non-stop. I got to max prestige, and by the end of it, I pretty much hated video games. Luckily, Battlefield was there to save the day. But in where Advanced Warfare brought fresh new things we have never seen before into Call of Duty, Call of Duty World War II plays it safe. It gives us things we've seen in other franchises, we've seen in other franchises recently, and we've seen in other Call of Duty games before. Now, after Call of Duty Ghosts was trying really hard to be Modern Warfare 2, and then we had 3 years of futuristic Call of Duties, to a lot of people it's a breath of fresh air, that it's more basic and simple, and I respect that. That's one of the reasons I think it's a good game, is that it is kind of cool that it embraces Call of Duty's roots. And in that, it's not really trying to be innovative and crazy, it's just trying to give people what they think of when they think of Call of Duty. And the game has a good player base, and it has a good fan base, like every Call of Duty would. Like, there could be a Call of Duty out there where every time you die, your Xbox just explodes, or your PC or your PlayStation just explodes, just destroys your expensive piece of gaming hardware.
Oh yeah, my Xbox. What? No. Oh, it broke!
And people would still buy it. It would still be like in the top 10 play. There people would be like, ah, fuck, I lost another Xbox. Shit, I better go get a new one. Call of Duty has a pretty avid fan base, and it has people all over the world that just consider it the go-to shooter. As cringy as that might be to you guys, and maybe me a little bit, it's a fact. But Advanced Warfare was a breath of fresh air. It gave me a reason to play it over other shooters. because it was doing things other shooters weren't at the time. It was delivering gameplay experiences and things that I've never seen before. That's not to say it's a good game. We're not really talking about the quality of games here, but Advanced Warfare was able to breathe new life into the franchise for me. After Call of Duty Ghosts, even though I personally enjoyed it, I was bored of COD. While after Advanced Warfare is angry at COD, Black Ops 3 bored me again, and then Infinite Warfare got me excited, and then I got bored later after that. So maybe it's Call of Duty, but most likely it's because my tastes have changed a little bit. But Call of Duty World War II, I don't really have any negative feelings towards. It's just dull. It just doesn't do anything new. I don't think that Call of Duty is in a state where people need what they remember. I don't think you need a kick to the nuts with nostalgia when it comes to COD. I think COD has a very versatile formula, and you can put a lot of different faces to it. But if COD wants to save its image in a lot of people's eyes, if Call of Duty wants to stay relevant, especially just to me, let's just take this away from the fan base and gamers and just talk about me for a second here. If it wants to stay relevant to me, it needs to pull another COD 4. It needs to pull another Black Ops 2. Give people something they didn't even know they wanted until they had it. And I got that idea for that little line from a subscriber on one of my live streams. Thank you so much for that. It's actually a really good little thing you said. Because that's what Black Ops 2 was. When we got it, we didn't really know what we were getting into, but for most people, it became what they want from Call of Duty. It was something they didn't know they wanted all along. Same with COD 4, and Advanced Warfare was a really good breath of fresh air into the franchise. Even if the air didn't smell right to you, it was still new. So the point of this little video is to say that Call of Duty World War II plays it safe, and I don't think COD is in a position to play it safe. I think Call of Duty should get crazy, or at least give us something we didn't know we wanted. Change up the formula in ways that are simple like Black Ops 2 did, or do something drastic like Advanced Warfare. You're not just limited to changing the way our movement works, or the way map flow works. You can do something new, COD developers. You can give us something more freeing, more exciting, less limiting. I don't understand. Do we want what we used to remember, or do we want something new and exciting? The community can never make up its mind. I don't think anybody's right to say one or the other. What I do know is that if Call of Duty wants to compete for my attention and a lot of my friends' attention, it has to make some waves. Not become a different shooter, not take over the reins of a different franchise and start adding vehicles and destruction, but if it's gonna be an annual franchise, it needs to deliver me something every year that's exciting and gives me a reason to play over other shooters that I could also potentially be playing. So thank you, Advanced Warfare, for breathing fresh air into the franchise. I don't like you, but I respect what you tried to do, I respect what you did, and I hope we see that again in Call of Duty soon. We keep playing it safe, it's gonna keep getting simpler and more bare bones, and I'm not gonna want to play it. So, Advanced Warfare did what Call of Duty World War II failed at. And that is giving you something new to look at that you don't see in other games. Items, weapons, types of maps, types of movement that you don't see in other shooters. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys want to see from Call of Duty down below. I'm sure a lot of you just want to see it dead, but that's fine. You do you. Kill the franchise. Fuck millions of people, right? See ya.